All right, we're back. Got interviews with Daddio.
Uh, Another time, Gary Young and Steve were, and they wanted to go on a little hike, and I was wearing jeans and took my shirt off, and Gary and Steve had on shorts and shirts, t-shirt. We were all barefooted. I think Marshall was along too. Anyway, we were walking up the holler and creek bed, and it was kind of dry, and I was barefooted too, and I happened to look down, and there was a coiled rattlesnake at my ankle, and I said, "Y'all stop right there, don't move." And Gary said, "What for?" I said, "Just don't move, stay where you are. There's a rattlesnake right by my foot," and it was a few inches away, and so anyway. Gary, where? And I said, "Don't move." I said, Gary, take your shirt off. And I had my hand back there behind me. And he said, "What for?" I said, "Just take your shirt off and give it to me." And he did. And he reached it to me and put it in my left hand. And I very slowly took my left hand up and moved over, and I dropped it. I dropped the shirt on top of the snake, and I grabbed it behind the neck. I finally got it right by there.
And it was rattling the whole time?
Behind the head. And I carried it down home, and I put it in a big half-a-gallon jar and put the lid on it. And I showed it to Mom. Said, "You kill that." It was a baby rattlesnake, but it was about 9 inches long, and it was coiled up. And I guess they had poison too. But anyway.
Oh, they say that they're the most poisonous because they don't regulate the venom. They just do it all.
So anyway, it was coiled, ready to strike, and and so that was that experience. Then another time, can I tell another story about the snake? Okay. So Marshall and I were coming back from hunting, and we were up the holler, same place. We always went up there by the creek bank and coming back. And Marshall was carrying a shotgun. And I was carrying that nylon 66 I used to have. And
which I bought. I rebought it for you.
Yeah, you did.
But I got the wrong collar.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was multiple collars. I only thought there was one. And that was a Remington too, wasn't it?
Remington nylon 66 olive drab.
And that's right whenever the plastics and the nylon and stuff was coming out in the 60s, right? Or the 50s?
And they showed a commercial or on a advertisement on a page, and they had a stack of 22 cartridges, shells, empty. They fired over 200 times, and it didn't jam once. And it was light. It was a nice rifle. But anyway, we were coming back, and before we crossed the creek, we'd jump across the creek. It was that small, and it's kind of flat. And I was walking along, and Marshall said, "Gordon, stop." And I said, "What?" And right maybe 2 feet from my left leg, he shot the shotgun right in the ground. I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he said, he walked over and picked up and said, "There was a copperhead about ready to strike your leg." I said, "Oh, well, thank you." So that was...
I want to interject real quick here. I don't know what it is with Parker boys and finding snakes up on the farm.
Yeah.
But do you remember the time that Wes Jr. and I were up on... You might not have been there because I remember Marshall taking care of this. We were playing in the creek and stuff. Wes Jr. and I were playing in the creek. We had our BB guns with us, just shooting BB guns or whatever. And I can't remember what we were doing in the creek, but we were throwing some rocks against the bank or whatever, and a piece of the bank came away. Mm-hmm. The mud and stuff came away, and a bunch of snakes fell out. It was like a den. It was like a snake den underneath the rock. That's what we were doing. We were doing the stuff underneath the rock to get the rock to fall. And so the rock finally fell into the creek, and a bunch of snakes fell out. It was like a snake den, and it was all copperheads.
Oh.
And Wes Jr. and I tore back, and I don't know, maybe Wes can corroborate with this, but Wes Jr. and I, this is at least how I remember it. We ran back to the house, and Marshall was like the only adult there, or I don't know where Grandma was, or I don't know whatever, but Marshall was, y'all might have been somewhere, and then Marshall was the super. I remember Marshall grabbing a shotgun and walking back up the holler with us to where we did that and saw the snakes.
Yeah.
But we couldn't find any trace of them. I guess they had done scattered and everything. And I don't think Marshall believed us, but he did. He grabbed a shotgun and went up the holler with us to take care of whatever the problem was.
They were in hiding, and you don't want to hunt for them.
Yeah. But another thing, Is it an old wives' tale or just an old family story? Or did Grandma ever whip a snake's head off of it by spinning it around and cracking it like a whip?
Snap it like a whip.
Yeah.
She told that story to me when she was young, before she was married.
Okay.
She had told that story. Said you could snap it, and don't worry, it would snap its head off or not, but it would break its neck.
Break its neck.
Of course, where does a
Snake is all
snake's
neck.
neck start and end? But anyway, that's because Grandpa Young used to do that.
Oh, okay.
And I remember him. He was a big man and big hands, and so that's some of the stories too. Mom had, and
Well, I remember telling me and the other grandkids, she said, if you ever smell cucumbers,
she always told me that.
she said, if you ever smell cucumbers,
When you're out in the woods.
start looking around because that's copperheads.
Exactly. And I've come across that before, and she was right.
Yeah.
And another story, I would go hunting barefooted in the woods sometime in warm weather, and I was going up through there, and no, we were just hiking, and some friends of mine came with us, and they were walking around, and there was a big briar patch there. It was green briars, and they said if you run real fast through it, they won't stick you as much. I said, no. And they said, oh, yeah. So they walked through, and I ran through it, and I got multiple briars stuck in my feet.
Wow.
I said, I thought you said if you ran fast. Well, you said you're supposed to run fast and softly. You're not. You just stomping. I said, that's the way I run. So anyway, so that was one of the stories, and all kinds of stories, climbing trees and riding them over to another tree, playing Tarzan and sliding down the oak tree and wearing shorts and sliding down the oak tree and scratching your legs up and all that. And so after that, I learned to wear blue jeans, long-legged ones.
Yeah.
But I used to climb trees so much and just stand up in them, and I could see the house from the top of the trees and stand up there. And we didn't have any. We had a telephone later on, but our communication was Mom would get out there on the porch and holler for me, and she could holler to the head of the holler almost. Holler to holler.
Holler to holler.
And she would say, go ahead and come on home. And she'd always checking on us, and I didn't want to answer her back because I might have been watching a squirrel or something.
Yeah.
So.
Because unlike me,
Yeah.
I had the street lights to tell me to come home
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
When I was staying with Grandma Green,
Right.
I'd hardly ever come home unless it was to get something to drink or eat lunch, like a bologna sandwich or something.
Yeah.
And she'd say, just come on in whenever the street light turns off. We knew
Yeah.
we knew to come back home.